Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to give you the good news and the bad news about a place in the Philippines called Alona Beach, Alona Beach, and how much it has changed in the last 6.5 years. Now, the good news is, well, it depends on what you think is good news. The news is that about 6.5 years ago, I moved to Alona Beach, to a private beach where we were the only house on the entire beach that was about 700 feet long. Excuse me. It was about 350 feet long, and then there was a rock formation, and then there was another beach next to it. And we were the only house on the block, or on the beach. Since then, there are multiple houses on this same beach area. So that's the actual location where I live. But Alona Beach proper, where there was probably about 20 storefronts on Alona Beach, to the left and right of the Alona Q Hotel. And that's after you walk down the hill from the central portion of Alona Beach. On the left and right side of the street, immediately to the left, there were two Filipino restaurants on the left side, and then there was a bar called One for the Road, about 200 feet away from Alona Beach proper. Let's call it Alona Beach proper, where McDonald's is now. So there were two Filipino restaurants and one bar named One for the Road. And then there was nothing on the left-hand side all the way down to the beach area, where when you got to the bottom and you made a left was the Alona Q Hotel. On the right side, there was an Italian restaurant, which is there now. On the corner was a place called Helmut's Bar, Helmuts Bar. It was a German-owned establishment. And then the next building over was the BPI Bank building. The next building down was probably 100 feet away, and that was an Italian restaurant. There was a small stand. It was just a teeny little stand that made fruit drinks next door to that. And then there was a Korean restaurant right next to that area. Then there was nothing for a few hundred feet, and then there were like three buildings back from the beach. A dive shop, like a Western Union and money exchanger, and there was a beauty parlor. Now, in between where McDonald's is now and the beach, there were about 8 businesses. Now there are well over 40 separate businesses. 85% of those businesses are owned by either Chinese, Korean, or Japanese owners, and they sell seafood. There are nail places to get your nails done, and several massage parlors and a discotheque. Okay, so that's the road from McDonald's to the beach, where once there were about 8 businesses. Now there are over 40, but all the new businesses are owned by Chinese, Korean, or Japanese ownership, except for one, the Outback Steakhouse, which 2 years ago had a very high quality level of food, but the last 2 times that we ate there, I was not happy with the food, so I will not go back and try it again. This is hard to talk about. When you get to the beach, to the right side, were about 6 businesses, small little mom and pop stores, and 1 bar called the Bird Watcher. And then down past the Bird Watcher were a couple of little like sari stores or yuki stores. And then there was a Korean restaurant towards the end. So there were maybe 7 stores to the right of the path downwards. Now, and in between all of the stores from McDonald's to the beach were forests, completely just overgrown vegetation and forests, but no businesses. And then to the right, there were 6 or 7 stores before you reached the end of the beach. And in between those stores were forests or just empty lots that may have had grass on them. So right now, from the top where McDonald's is to the beach, they added about 34, 35 stores. There are no more trees. The forests are gone. I just posted a video of where there once was a forest. Now it's a parking lot and 5 different hotels. And across the street, where there once was a forest from the parking lot, is the new BPI Bank building and probably 3 dozen Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and 1 Filipino restaurant, which has always been in Alona Beach, called Payag, Payag, which I still think has the best deal for the best prices for food in Alona Beach, Payag. That's directly across from McDonald's. There was also a pizzeria called Noah's Pizza. Although it serves a decent pizza pie, my preference is a place a little bit up the road towards Tagbilaran on the left-hand side, about 1 kilometer, called Giuseppe's Pizza. So if I was going to go to Alona Beach and I wanted pizza, I would always go to Giuseppe's. And Noah's Pizza is okay, not a bad pie, but it's not anything compared to Giuseppe's Pizza. So if you're a pizza eater, you want to go to Giuseppe's. If you want Filipino food, there is only 1 place left in Alona Beach that's called Payag, Payag. And that's directly across from McDonald's. So digressing back to the beachfront area itself, it's completely different. I don't know if you want to call it destroyed or just not pretty anymore, but hello, Scott. Welcome to the machine. Thank you very much for stopping by. Flying Circus, welcome to the machine. Robert Harrison, Jesus loves you. Must be talking to Scott Del Fuego, because I'm not real sure how much love Jesus has for me, but thank you and Merry Christmas. So getting back down to the beach area, to the right, when you make a right at the bottom, along the beach, there used to be 75 feet of sand, white sand, to the right, and 75 feet or more of white sand beach to the left. That's gone. That's all gone, except for 1 area at the end of the beach to the left. But let's talk about when you get down to the bottom of the path to the right. 4 storms have ravaged the entire beach area. That's gone. So at high tide, there is no more beach to the right side. There might be 10 feet of brown sand, but white sand beach is completely gone. Now there are upwards of, I would think, 25 businesses where there were once only 4 or 5. And those 4 or 5 businesses were owned by Filipinos and 1 Australian man. Now the the additional 30 plus businesses that are there are all run by Korean or Japanese or Chinese owners, but Filipinos work in the businesses themselves. The beach itself is gone at high tide. There was probably about 30 palm trees along the beach. When you walk to the right, there are 3 left of those 25. And then when you get all the way down to the end where the rock jetty is, the beach is gone again. There's a few feet of white sand, but that's where the road, the walkway once was. Now the walkway is just white sand. So 1 or 2 more good storms and that'll be gone. When you get to the bottom of the path from McDonald's and you make a left, there was a Filipino business, which is gone. Now it's a Rastafarian type environment where they have a little bar and they sell Rastafarian homemade arts and crafts, like leather bracelets, the different types of, believe it or not, they sell different types of pipes, which, as anybody with any common sense knows, you can only put tobacco in, but I'm not real sure what they put in those pipes. But they also sell Rastafarian type clothes, and there's a bar immediately as you walk to the beach, immediately to the left, and they play Rastafarian music all day. Where once there was a Filipino restaurant that sold, chicken and pork and ice cream. That's all gone. And the next business over was always Alona Q. That has expanded unbelievably, the Alona Q. They've doubled or tripled the size of their hotel, but they couldn't get that corner property because the corner property was owned by a Filipino who's now renting it to the Rastafarian establishment. And they have probably the most, at night for sure, they have the biggest crowd on the beach. There's no doubt about that. There's probably more than 100 or so young men and women that enjoy Rastafarian and the reggae music. I guess that's what it's called. And they're all buying the reggae types clothing, and they're getting their hair put in dreadlocks and things like that. So the next business down from the reggae or Rastafarian place is Alona Q, and they have a restaurant there. I've never eaten in the restaurant. I didn't even get the prices. I have a video coming up with the prices on the beach of the restaurants, but I didn't get the prices. Then moving past the Alona Q, there's 2 or 3 old bars that were always there in a row. 2 bars that were always there. Both of them you can eat at. They're still there under the same ownership. And then after that, there are new owners of what were once little tiny, like bamboo type thatched places. No longer are those little businesses there. There are actually hotels being built in like 20-foot wide properties, but they go back 100 feet deep, and they're building rooms on like one side of the property, and on the other side is the path to get to the hotels. So there are no more of the original existing businesses that were on Alona Beach. There is a couple of dive shops. The dive shops didn't change ownerships, and 3 bars. All the rest are new. And then once you get past those 2 bars that I'm talking about, then there's a Filipino restaurant, but it's owned by Koreans, because you can tell that because they have the Korean signage up. And they sell seafood. Now, the seafood they say is fresh, may or may not be fresh. That I can't tell you. But in a video that I'm going to post tonight, it has all the food prices along Alona Beach. Then you go on past that area, and then you have a little business called, it's a little ice cream shop, Bahal something ice cream. And then after that, is the the Hennin restaurant, which is probably 350 feet in depth, a short 350 feet of beachfront. And there is where the white sand beach starts, at the Hennin restaurant. Now, on that property, they have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner buffet. Breakfast is 671 pesos. Lunch is 790 pesos during the week, but 800 and change pesos during the weekend. And dinner is 950 pesos for the buffet and 1,050 on the weekends. And then past that is it doesn't look like much. It's a little bar. It's a beautiful bar, a beautiful little restaurant bar establishment. And then that's original. That's still owned by the original owners. And then there's a next property over. It only looks like it's about 40 feet wide, but it's the entrance to a huge hotel complex with koi pools on it. But the koi pools are gone, but the koi pool is still there, but the koi are gone. But the hotel has two pools on the property and a really nice antique shop. So if you want to go to that, you want to see a really cool nautical antique shop when you're in Alona Beach, that would be the place to go. So the basic premise of this upload is to just let you know that where I would say 40 original stores, all owned by Filipinos, now I would say there's upwards of 125 new stores where McDonald's is. Helmets Bar is gone. That's gone. It moved down the road somewhere. I don't know where because I never drank in there. But in that area, they have well over 100 stores up in the McDonald's area within 1,000 feet on both sides of the road, on both directions up near McDonald's. There's well over 100 new stores, all of which are owned by Chinese, Korean, Japanese. There is no new stores up there that have been opened up by Filipino establishment owners. So if you want to understand what happened to Alona Beach and you don't know and you want to get an idea, the original atmosphere of palm trees on the beach and beautiful white sand beaches, that's gone. It's gone. It's never coming back. The walkway, where there was a walkway once along the beach, and then there were tables and chairs on the ocean side of the walkway, a new ordinance has condemned any tables and chairs or restaurant eating apparatus on the ocean side of the walkway. And on the land side of the walkway, there's only just a few feet of land where there can be a few tables and chairs. So any eateries that were on the beach and then the tables and chairs were on the ocean side of the path, that's gone. There's no more eateries on the ocean side of the path, and there's no more beach at high tide at all for 700 feet to the right of the bottom of the path and 700 feet to the left. And then once you pass that 700-foot mark, then they have the Hennin restaurant, and they have pumped in thousands of truckloads of sand to make a beach, and it's a beautiful beach, but that's the only white sand beach that's left in Alona Beach. All the rest is a brown color, like a piece of cardboard brown, and that's because all the white sand is gone, and the muck from the reef, from the storms, has turned the white sand, whatever sand is there, into a brown colored sand. As far as the water quality is concerned, I don't know. I got started late, and I'm going to have a little something to eat. If someone has a question, by all means, post it. Now, for a tourist destination, what you should know is that Alona Beach is now a very big tourist destination. So big, in fact, that on the island of Panglao, they have already opened up 8,000 plus new rooms in hotels on the island of Panglao itself, and they have plans at the city planning office for about 7,000 more hotel rooms, and then they're going to put maybe a moratorium on 15,000 new hotel rooms are being built. Now, in an upload I'm going to post probably Monday night, no, cottage cheese with spaghetti, that sounds good, and squash, I like that, and a salad. As long as the salad doesn't have onions, I would like that. Nomad Patra, you were just there at the buffet. You know you can't use the pool. You're not even allowed to pay a price to use the pool, as far as I know. When I asked, the last time I asked if you could use the pool for the day, and they said only if you were a paid guest at a hotel room, and the rooms start at this time of the year, I think the least expensive room is about $160. So the only way you could use the Hennon, now the Hennon does have 12 pools and jacuzzis, but you can't use it unless you're a guest at the hotel. And that's information from a few months back. Maybe they changed that. There are hotels that allow you to use the pool, but I don't know which ones they are. So you might be able to find that out online. If they had it online, but they probably don't have it online. You know the Philippines. You could go to the website of a government office in the Philippines with 5 telephone numbers. They don't work, and the email will come back as a dead email. Instead of coming back as a dead email, it should say, "Welcome to the Philippines." Nothing when it comes to governmental agencies and telephone numbers associated with those agencies. Nothing remains the same. And you'll call one person up this week to get information to get a computer from Australia to Bohol. Was 12 phone numbers, 7 people I spoke with, and it led me to a telephone number in Manila that I haven't contacted yet. So getting information, and hotels don't answer the phone, and they don't answer their emails, by the way. I don't know what it is. I'm not real sure what it is about the Philippines, but I've never gotten a response from any business I ever sent an email to. Never. And most phone numbers, for instance, I went to the post office 2 weeks ago, and this has to do with Alona Beach, but I went to the post office 2 weeks ago because they didn't answer their phone, it just rang. So I went there and I spoke with the gentleman who works at the post office, and I said, "You're not answering your phone." He goes, "Yes, sir." I'm going, "What do you mean, yes, sir? I mean, I've been calling you for 3 days because I need a piece of information from you." "Yes, sir." So I said, "May I speak with the supervisor?" So the supervisor had just walked into the office, and I spoke with him, and I said, "I've been trying to get the exact address of this place so that I could have something shipped to this post office, because not only do you need the post office address, but you need the phone number to the post office of the postmaster in the post office. In addition to that, you have to put it in the address a certain way So and you have to get that information, how to post it, even though your name will be in the address. If it's not in the place that they want it to be, and the phone number isn't in the place they want it to be, they won't call you. I don't understand it. But anyway, so he gave me the telephone number to the post office, and I said, no, that number doesn't work. He goes, of course it works. Sir, it's the number here. It's on this piece of paper. So I told him, go to the piece of paper and call that number. So he called it, and it didn't work. So he gives me another number, the next number down. Does he scratch that off? No, he doesn't scratch it off, the first number. He gives me a second number, which was a landline. I says, okay, call the landline. No, that didn't work either. So he ended up giving me his personal cell number instead of the telephone number to the post office, because he was the postmaster at the post office and didn't know what the telephone number to the post office was. So for all the infrastructure improvements in the Philippines in the Alona Beach area, the postmaster of the post office doesn't know the telephone number to the post office that he's the postmaster of. So they should just tell you, welcome to the Philippines. And what did they say about using the pool? What was your information? Did you get it from the front desk, or did you get it from one of the men that will tell you anything they think you want to hear, that work around the outside of the pool? Where did you get the information from? Well, I'm telling you for a fact, you cannot go in the pool if you buy the buffet. That's a fact. You might be, and as far as buying a day pass for the pool, I've been told you can't do that either. So I'm thinking the answer to your question is no. You can't go in the pool if you buy the buffet, and no, they don't have a day pass. All right. Well, that's what you got. I'm telling you, it's not like that. Well, it wasn't like that 2 months ago. So, I was told that the Hennon, the only way to go in the pool was to have a room at the hotel. And that's it. And I got that information from the front desk. And even that lady at the front desk didn't know whether or not you could buy a day pass for the pool. They had to get, whoever they got was in charge of something. So when you get to Alona Beach, I also want to tell you that there used to be if you were looking at the Hennon business and the pools to the right, there was a cliff, a big rock jetty cliff. But it's about 26 feet tall. And there's a staircase cut into the rock. And there's a hotel at the top of that top of that rock jetty. Now, you used to be able to walk up there and take pictures of Alona Beach. But now there's an armed security guard that will not let you up the stairs unless you're a guest of the hotel. So nothing that you get, you can ask. I could tell you how many people I asked for information this week about different things. Filipinos have a traditional mentality that they will not say, I don't know, sir. They will tell you anything, but they tell it to you with zeal. Oh yes, sir, you can definitely rent the pool by the day, because that's what they think you want to hear. Filipinos do not. The average Filipino, you go to a mall. The average Filipino in the mall they know what's on the aisle that they're in charge of. And in the supermarket, they may even know what's on most of the aisles. But if you ask them where there's a computer store, they will not know. And even, or ask them where to buy, but they will tell you to go somewhere. It's interesting. Let's see, where was I? About 3 weeks ago, I wanted to buy an Asus computer about maybe 5 weeks ago. And I asked what store has an Asus computer in it, because the store I went into had Asus computers, but they had the bottom line. And she was very clear that the particular name of the store outside the BQ Mall, she was so clear. She knew that this store had this, and she knew where the store was, and she explained it to me. And when I went there, the store specializes in Acer computers and doesn't even have Asus computers in it. But the sign on the store says Asus computers. So she was right that the store has a sign that says Asus computers, but they only now carry Lenovo and Acer computers. But she was sure that's where to go. Now, her being sure and me taking every bit of 15 minutes to get from her store to the other store to find out that they don't sell Asus computers was just a complete waste of time. But that gentleman told me where there was a store that sold 100% Asus computers, and I needed to take a tricycle. So I took the tricycle to the store. And it says Asus dealer on the front of the store. But it's not an Asus computer store. It's an Asus parts store. That's what you get here in the Philippines. So, and to ask these people for a telephone number to the store before you get there, that's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. When I was getting the information to ship the computer from Australia to Bohol, the first number that I got, well, I have the paper here. Let me see. I'll give you the name. I'll give it to you again because I know that a lot of people didn't see it. The first number that I got was for something called Philippine National Single Window Website. And that's in Cebu. And when I called it, the man explained to me, yes, sir, come here to Cebu. Come here and fill out the form. Well, that would take upwards of 14 or 15 hours to go there and come back. But that's what he told me. So I said, well, why can't I just fill out the form, the web form? Yes, sir, you can do that too. So he would have had me travel to Cebu to fill out the paperwork in his office. And then when I said, what about the website? He goes, yes, sir, you can do that too. So I went to the website and it said that I had to do something else at a different location called Cebu Regional Office first before I filled out the form. So when I went to the Cebu Regional Office, he said, no, sir, this is not the place to fill out for the import fee for the computer. And he sent me to a place in Bohol. And Bohol sent me, well, that number didn't work. So he gave me another I had to call him back and got another telephone number. That number worked, but when I called up, they said, no, sir, let's see what was the name of that place? They didn't actually have a name, I don't think, if I remember. Either way, there was no name, but he gave me the address to a building, but not an address. He gave me a street on Maria Street, that I could go to get the form to fill out to get the computer shipped to the Philippines. So I said, may I have a telephone number? So he gave me a telephone number, and I said to them, can you give me the exact address to your place? And they said, yes, sir. It's on Maria Street, near the college, next to Gerasonics computer store, second floor. I said, well, if I come there, will I be able to pay you for the import fee for a computer? No, sir. No, that you have to do in Manila. I said, do I have to go to Manila? He said, that would be better. I said, how about you just give me a phone number? So he gave me a phone number to Manila, but I haven't gotten. Then we had a blackout, and the following day, they did not answer the phone. This is the Philippines. Hello, Princess Nude. Welcome to the machine. So, 12 phone numbers, 7 people, and now I have 2 telephone numbers from Manila that no one has answered the phone in business hours yet. Now, I don't know why. Plus, I was told by the shipping agent in Australia. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to eat breakfast. I was on Skype with some friends early all morning. The shipping agent in Australia explained to me, even if I fill out that form in Manila, what they require from the computer, first of all, it has to be a new computer, or it has to have the original purchase receipt with the serial number to the computer on it, so they know how much it was, and they know the serial number to the computer so that they can get the Bluetooth information out of the computer, or from the electronics part of the computer. What they really want is the Bluetooth information. So if you don't have the original receipt from the store itself, you can't ship a computer to the Philippines. But if you do, and you fill out all the paperwork with Manila, you can do it online, but I don't know that because no one answered the phone. The shipping agent said after you finish filling out all the information and give them all the information, they will ship the computer to Cebu, was where you have to pick it up. They will not ship it to Bohol. They will ship it to a customs broker in Cebu, which you also have to pay for. So the shipping itself was $354. It was $554, and I wrote the shipping company back. I said, are you crazy? $554. And they sent me another price quote for $354. And he said there was a mistake. Now, the mistake was that if I paid $554, it would have been my mistake. I digress. So it was $354 after I fill out the form from Manila and pay, not in person and not online with my credit card. After I fill out the form, I get a code so that I can go to my bank and give my bank the code to their company, to the Manila office bank account. I get a code to put money in their bank account, about 1,000 pesos, so that they'll process my paperwork. But the shipping company in Australia said even after they process your paperwork and we ship the computer, they shipped out a computer the first week of October, and now what is it, the second week of December now? and the computer is still not released. It's in Cebu, which means you have to go to Cebu to get it, which is another 5,000 pesos round trip. And if you have to stay overnight, food, 5,000 pesos per person to go to Manila for overnight stay and transportation to the boat port, to the ferry to get the boat. And if had I gone then when they wanted me to, I would have been stuck in Manila for 4 days because they shut the ferries down. So anyway, after I pay the Manila office 1,000 pesos, the shipping company said, you still have to go to Cebu to pick it up. And the last computer we sent there has been there since the first week in October. They won't release it, even though the man did everything right. Getting the computer from Warren to my house has been problematic at best. Well, if you were such friends with Daisy May, you would know exactly where Daisy May is, yeah? I thought you guys were friends. Maybe you should ask Daisy May where she is. I know where she is. I just spent an hour and a half on speaking with Daisy May. She's doing quite well, thank you. Thomas Grube. Warren could ship it in a balikbayan box. From America, that's not a problem. In Australia, apparently the balikbayan boxes go in America to the Philippines is 10 to 12 weeks, 13 weeks. But in Australia, the balikbayan box process takes 4 to 6 months, depending on what port. The boat goes in the opposite direction, basically, of the Philippines before it comes back. So it would be a 4 to 6 month period to ship it in a balikbayan box. But you could do it that way. Setting aside the fact that Warren is in the hospital and he can't do it, and his girlfriend has already tried to ship it out 3 different ways, the probability of that computer ever coming to the Philippines is, at this point, up in the air. Compounded with the fact that Warren hasn't been able to get to Skype or answer his phone. He's not, the chemotherapy and the radiotherapy is really destroying his ability to stay awake. He's been sleeping upwards of 20 hours a day. So Daisy just explained to me that she's called Warren several times and he hasn't answered her Skype, and he hasn't answered my Skype in 4 days now. So I don't know, but you could ship it in a balikbayan box from Australia, but it takes 4 to 6 months to get here, which is okay for me. My computer's working just fine. Warren just bought it because he felt like buying me a birthday present. Now, getting back to Alona Beach. So I met one of my subscribers, a man named Cal, C-A-L. And he showed up on time. In last week's live stream, or Friday's live stream, you'll notice I put down in public that I was meeting him at McDonald's at 10 a.m. And I was there at 20 minutes to 10. And he got there about 15 minutes to 10 o'clock. And then we took a walk, which you can see in my new uploads. I bought a theater seating with aluminum cup holders. One clearance because someone painted cup holder. I'm not sure what that means, Scott. I bought theater seating with silver aluminum cup holders. One clearance because someone painted cup holder. Well, there's two ways to remove paint. One would be the paint stripper, and another would be a heat gun. One of those hot air heat guns. They come in 110 and 220. Hey, Man, Bear, Pig, welcome. I called you back the other day. You didn't answer. Hello. Aircraft remover. Yeah, you could use a paint stripper, but you could use a heat gun. I don't know what type of, what is it painted on? I bought theater seating. Is that an aluminum frame or a metal frame or a wooden frame? Either one will work. But me personally, I like the heat gun. No problem, Man, Bear, Pig. I haven't stopped between going to Alona Beach and going to the city and on the phone for this, getting the computer here. Holder is fixed in a leather arm, so sanding may mess it up. Well, there's all kinds of paint strippers. You wouldn't be able to use a heat gun on that for sure. So you're going to have to just get, there's something called Red Devil, REDDIVIL, or Red Devil paint stripper. Any good paint stripper will take it off. I mean, there's probably 10 or 12 different brands. But chemically wise, it might go into the leather. That I can't tell you. But don't use a heat gun on leather. It will shrink it for sure. So after we met up at McDonald's, Cal and his girlfriend, who she really didn't want her name or face on the videos, we started walking to an area that's pretty much private, but they allow me to walk through the property because they do. And there was a very nice Chinese woman, probably in her late 40s, mid 40s, and she was there taking pictures. So we invited her to come with us, and we had a really nice walk along the beach, and we saw the storm damage. Yeah, if you're going to use masking tape, just remember to take it off as soon as you're done, because the glue from masking tape, regular masking tape, will stick to the leather. It'll be a pain in the neck, unless you use the blue masking tape, and then you could leave it on for a week or two. It won't stick. But that stuff, for a little roll like this, Scott, I gotta tell you, for a roll of that blue masking tape this big, with a like 3/8 of an inch of masking tape, $13 for a 3/4 inch roll of masking tape. $13. I just saw it online, so I use the cheap stuff and take it off right away. So we took a walk along the Alona Beach area, and there were every business for 1 kilometer. Every single business for 1 kilometer was closed and resold, because there used to be dive shops and private, very private places to stay, cottages, very private, like private security entrance to the property, and private when you got to the property from the beach area, and private in that they were not like it was like if you didn't know about the place, you'd never see it online, or nobody would reference it. So there were like 5 businesses in a row that are 200 to 300 feet wide, 200 to 300 feet of shoreline, that no one ever knew the name of. There was no name on the gate. You just might have seen a sign, like, whatever the sign was, but maybe it was a small sign like this big, 2 feet by 3 feet. These are all private, like $1 million escape places, except for one where there was a big pool and it was a dive shop. They're all gone. Everything is gone. And the lady that I was with, you'll see in one of the videos, she goes, "Oh, this place is closed. I buy. So I said, okay, let's go find the manager of the property. So we found the custodian for the property. She goes, I buy this place. And I was laughing. I'm going, and Cal and I was standing back. She walked over to the manager. I said, that's interesting, because this place was huge. This was not the kind of place. It wasn't like walking up to a bicycle shop and seeing a $300 bicycle. I buy. This place probably, well, I don't know. No way on earth. The impossible. And not even well, I know what $1 million property on that beach looks like. And I know what a $2 million property on that beach looks like. And I know what a $3 million property on that beach looks like. This was a $12 or $15 million property. And that was for an empty, deserted, abandoned property. We're talking about $12 million US for this property. And I explained it to the lady. I said, this property is probably $12 million. She goes, I buy. Let's find proprietor. Okay, let's go. But it was sold. Anyway, that was funny. I buy now. I buy today. I believe she would have. Anyway, you'll see her in my videos. We just had one laugh after the other, because she spoke excellent English. And Cal and I were comparing the size of our pregnancies to one another. His girlfriend kept running away from the camera like this. And the Chinese lady, she was happy. She was one of the happiest people I ever met. So that'll be coming up in a video with, you'll see an empty pool as the thumbnail for the video. Big, huge empty pool. That property was, I would say 200. The pool was 40 feet wide. It was 50, 60, 70 feet on one side. That's 110 and 80 feet on the other. The property was 200 plus feet wide, but it was close to 1,200 feet long, deep from the road. So 1,200 feet, between 9 and 1,200 feet deep. You couldn't see the road. Hello, Sasha. Welcome to the machine. You couldn't see the road from where we were. And even when we got to the proprietor's office, the road was a couple of hundred more feet. I would say the property was 220 feet by 1,200 feet. That's why when I say that the property had a value of over $12 million, that would be a minimum. I have a fly in my house. I'm going to put this food in the refrigerator. I'll finish that later. Hold on a minute. I want to get water also. Cold water. got up at 5 o'clock this morning to call Warren, and Warren was not available. And then I got a call from Miss Daisy May, who's me, and she's doing well. And any of my close friends that I talk with, I'll tell you what's going on in Daisy May's life. But we spoke from, we spoke from 8 o'clock in the morning until 9:30. And Daisy's in Mindanao now, visiting her ex-boss, who we call Ati Lorraine. And then she's going to the G Mall, Gayasano Mall, and she's going to pick me up a belt, a leather belt with embroidery, because I left it in an airport bin, or someone took it out of the bin, and I didn't realize that it had been taken out of the bin, because at Kennedy Airport, I was running out of time to get on the plane, and they saw that I had cameras and I had these drives in my gear, and the guy decided to take my camera bag completely apart. I mean, everything in the camera bag apart. So at the time I had the GoPro Hero 5, I had the GoPro Hero 7, I had a GoPro Hero 4, that didn't work, that I wanted to get fixed in New York. Then I had the batteries for all of those. Then I had 3 external drives, which are where my videos from New York are on, and that now they're in a container. I had 3 external drives that were current videos from moving my equipment from New York to the Philippines. But I also had 7 drives in New York that I put in a container. So they took the 3 drives, they took everything out of my bag. They opened up every single zipper, and there's probably 40 compartments in my gear bag. And I'm going to the guy, "What are you looking for, dude? This is all camera equipment. I'm a Philippines blogger." And he's throwing my stuff around, and I grabbed his hand. I said, "What the hell are you doing? Those are $700 worth of cameras you just threw." He grabbed the 2 GoPros and threw them like in another bin. So what the hell are you doing? He goes, "I will have you arrested." I'm going, "For what?" He goes, "You're not allowed to touch us." I'm going, "Well, then don't throw my gear around. Get the supervisor here." So we did. We got the supervisor, and the supervisor said he's allowed to do this. I'm going, "He's not allowed to throw my cameras around." And at this point, my plane was only like 12 minutes away from boarding, and they put all my gear in a bin, and they had my belt and my wallet, which had a lot of money in it, and then I had my belt and my personal stuff, my jewelry. I had this little piece of junk jewelry that they made me take off, my keys for the Philippines, my keys from New York, which I forgot to leave at the house. They jammed me up mentally. I left my belt in the bin, or somebody saw that belt and liked it, because in America that belt had a value of about $150 for that belt. And here I paid $16 for it 4 years ago, but I went to buy another one in the mall Jay-Z and I were in a mall in June. We were in Cebu, and they wanted $150 for a belt similar but not the same quality. So somebody saw that belt and said, "Yep, I'm going to take that belt out of the box, and if he doesn't notice it, I'm going to keep it." Or it fell on the floor and somebody kicked it underneath the counter. I don't know. Probably someone stole my belt. One of those TSA agents, because, it's just a belt, right? It's just a belt. Yeah, it was just a belt, and I only paid $12 for it, but it has a value of over $150. And anybody that knows belts would know that. And now it costs $150 here in the Philippines in the mall. But I went right straight to the belt. The company that makes the belt sold it to me for 650 pesos. It was like maybe $15. Yeah, that's an expensive belt. But it was, it had, well, when Daisy's going to buy me a new one, I think she's going this morning. When she's going to go to that same leather shop that we went to last time. And if they have it, oh, it was a nice belt. No doubt about it. The nicest belt I ever owned. And you'll see what it looks like. If she gets another one of the same quality, you'll see. You go, whoa, that's a nice belt. All right, Man, Bear, Pig. You have a nice day. Thanks for stopping by. You had that happen in Moscow once. I never was searched like that before, and there's nothing in my there was nothing. He even took out, I had a little plastic pouch with SD cards in it. He even took the SD cards out of the little clear plastic pouch that you could clearly see. There were like 5 SD cards in it, and he dumped them on the table to make sure there was nothing else besides. This guy was a real jerk. He was a piece of garbage. TSA garbage. There was no reason for him to take the SD cards out of a clear plastic satchel. 5 little SD cards, and he just dumped them on the table and then looked at them. What can you see when you're looking at an SD card? What can you see? What else can it be but a small SD card, especially that it's in a little clear plastic thing? This guy just, I don't know if he was the one who took my belt. I don't know if the belt fell on the floor. I don't know if someone else took the belt, but the belt was gone. And that really pissed me off, because Lord knows I need a belt. Anyway, we got off track there. That just pisses me off that they can do that they have the right to go. There was nothing in my bag, and x-rays showed it. They sent it through the x-ray machine 2 or 3 times. They sent it through top up, bottom down, left up, and then right side up, and they x-rayed it from 4 directions, and he still took everything apart. What a jerk. All right. Anyway, that's my experience with the TSA, and I didn't like that at all. Daisy's doing well. She's very happy. She's visiting her old boss. And her and Chris, the girl who got married, are going to be living together. If they're looking for a place in Davao, in the city of Davao itself. Also Daisy became, while she was in Zamboanga, she became a Zumba instructor. She is now licensed to teach Zumba by the Philippines Zumba Authority, whatever that is. And she has a name for her Zumba. I won't tell you what the name is. It's the name that she's going to use when she starts teaching Zumba. So she's now a licensed Zumba teacher in the Philippines, baby. That's pretty cool. And she did, I don't know how many weeks the class was. So now the next thing after she got her license is to go to where Zumba is practiced, and then to be up on stage with the Zumba instructor and then follow the Zumba instructor for a few months, because first you have to learn how to be a teacher, a Zumba instructor, but then you have to get practice, what they call vocational practice for the Zumba itself. So that's what she's doing now. She's at the stage where she has her certificate and she can teach Zumba, but she needs some practice as a Zumba instructor. So she's going to start going to different Zumba places to get different feels for different Zumba style instructors. And then eventually they will let her take the lead in every case. They'll let her take the lead on the song she's good at. But eventually, then when there's a Zumba instructor that can't make a class in Davao, she will be the Zumba lead instructor at the Zumba class, which I think is pretty cool. And anybody else have any questions about Alona Beach? Because that's one thing. Thank you very much, Scott. Zumba. Yeah, she's real happy about that. She was so excited. She even got a bracelet. It's a Zumba. Apparently, all the Zumba instructors get some sort of a bracelet with beads on the bracelet, and the beads signify that you're a Zumba instructor, which I didn't know. I've seen other Zumba instructors with those beaded bracelets. I just thought it's actually your Zumba instructor pass to be a Zumba instructor. So the one thing I wanted to talk to you about different eateries, going back into the Alona Beach aspect of this video. Okay, so you arrive in Alona Beach at a three-way intersection. One goes towards, you're right in front of McDonald's. It's three-way intersection. If you look at the map, Alona Beach, you're in front of McDonald's. One goes to the beach. One goes to Tagbilaran, and one goes towards the other side of the island. I forget the name of where the town is over there. So if you want to eat and you're in Alona Beach and you don't want to eat McDonald's, which the last time I ate McDonald's was 2001 or 2002, directly across from McDonald's, two stores, one I would recommend and one I would not. There is a Philippines restaurant called Payag, Payag, Payag. And they sell meals for 150 pesos, $3, for a chicken breast or a chicken thigh with unlimited rice. And they have cold water with ice, and that's included in the meal. And now it was 149 pesos the last time Daisy and I went there. If you want Filipino food, that is the only place that I would recommend for traditional chicken or pork in Alona Beach. Then immediately next door to that is a pizzeria called Noah's Pizza. I would not eat that. I'm going to tell you right now. I can't tell you who it was. Well, that's the restaurant where I fell off the chair and the owner just said, "Oh, that's too bad," even though I almost broke my wrist backwards. But that's not why I wouldn't eat that. I went there with a man, very famous man. Anybody in the world, probably 80% of the people in the world that are my age would know exactly who this man is. Very famous man. And we sat at the table, Daisy and I, and this man and his girlfriend. He's not married, Filipino girl. And he said, "I haven't eaten here yet." And we ordered a pie, and he put the pie in his mouth. Let's just say this was a piece of pizza pie. He put the pie in his mouth, and and he spit the pie back out onto his plate and went like that. And I'm going, I guess you don't like the pie. He goes, this is garbage. This is garbage. He goes, you don't expect me to eat this crap, do you? And I'm going, well, I mean, it's the only pizza place I know of in Alona Beach. He goes, come on, we'll go to Giuseppe's. He did it as an exaggeration because he's a little bit of an actor, and but he did it to prove a point. He goes, this is garbage, this pizza. So that was Noah's Pizza, and I'm going, well, I didn't think it was so bad for Filipino pizza, but 1 kilometer up the road towards Tagbilaran is a place called Giuseppe's Pizza. The Noah's pizzas were 500 pesos for a particular name of a pie. And Giuseppe's Pizza has the same name because they're Italian names. And that's 440. So it's already $1.20 less for the pie at Giuseppe's. But the pie at Giuseppe's, at Noah's Pizza, the ham was sliced so thin you could see through it. And at Giuseppe's pizza, the ham was sliced 3/16 of an inch thick. The pepperoni was thick but cooked. At Noah's Pizza, the pepperoni was paper thin, and it was burnt on the pie. So the comparison between the two pizzerias, to travel for 50 pesos on a tricycle or take a 10-minute walk up to Giuseppe's, there's no comparison. So I've never eaten at Noah's Pizza again. So if I was going to eat pizza in Alona Beach, it would be at Giuseppe's. They have Noah's has an electric oven. Giuseppe's has a fire brick oven. I would say by weight, Noah's Pizza was 60 pesos more than Giuseppe's, but by weight, Giuseppe's Pizza weighed 20% or 25% more product on the pie, and it was bigger. Noah's Pizza is supposed to be a 13-inch pizza pie. They put it on a 13-inch board, and it's probably 11 inches in diameter, and they tell you some horse shit that the pie was 13 inches when we started cooking it, but it shrinks to 11 inches. Well, that's just not what it says on the menu. And the menu on Noah's Pizza, it says 13-inch pie, but you're selling us an 11-inch pie. 13-inch pie is and it used to be a 13-inch pie like 3 years ago, but they cut down on the size of the pie so that they could have more profit. I would never eat in Noah's Pizza again. I mean, I may live here for 25 more years or 10 more years or 25 more months. I would never eat in Noah's Pizza. Just to give you, how you doing, Noah? Nice shout out to you. That you laughed when I fell off your steps. You thought, oh, that's too bad. You saw my wrist was this big. He didn't care. So not only he didn't care about my wrist, I don't care about this review. So tell him I said hello. But either way, his pie is nothing compared to quality of pie at Giuseppe's. So there's two different things. Rude. The reason I bring up the 13-inch pie is because I used to get 2 pies to go. But one day, Daisy and I went, we got a pie on the 13-inch platter. This is going back before I fell. I didn't fall anywhere. The chairs in the video, when you sit at the table, the chairs, when you step away from the table, the chairs only have 5 or 6 inches more to go, and then they fall off a 3-foot platform. It would be totally illegal to do that in most places in the world. Anyway, so I got a 13-inch pie on the platter. It was probably 12 inches. And I said, let me have one to go. And when I got it, the box, you could feel the pie floating around. There was no weight to the box. It was like there was no cheese in the box. There was no hot sauce in the box. There was no pepper in the box, which I asked for, hot pepper, cheese, and hot sauce. Nothing was in the box. The pie was 9.5 inches in diameter. That's 40% less pie than a 13-inch pie. So I said, get the owner over here. So the owner came over, and he was being a complete ass. I mean, this guy is freaking shrewd. And I said to him, "What do you call this?" His name is Max. "What do you call this?" He goes, I said, "Look at this." He goes, "Yes." Like Max has been a pie man for 35 or 40 years. And I show it to him. I said, "Look at this pie. It's in the box." "Yes." I said, "What do you call this?" He goes, "It's a pizza pie." I said, "But it's supposed to be a 13-inch pie." He tries to tell me that it started out to be 13 inches and now it's 9.5 inches. I said, "You know what? I don't want this. I didn't pay for it yet." "Well, I'll make you another one." So I said, "You'll make me another, like you're doing me a favor. Like you're doing me a favor to make me another pie." So he brings out another pie about 10 minutes later, and I open the box. I'm going, "Where's the sauce? Where's the cheese?" Oh, he tells me the cheese is 40 pesos more for a little container of cheese, like a half ounce of cheese. I said, "I'm not paying you extra for cheese. If it comes on the table, it comes with, yeah, that's a table pie." The whole restaurant, as far as I'm concerned, I would never eat there again. Tell them I said that I would never. Show them the video. Take a segment of the video. Go and send them the video. So anyway, the next pie was 11.5 inches. And I took it. I paid for it, but I'll never go back there again. And that was my experience with Noah's Pizza. And the pie was nothing, in taste-wise, nothing compared to Giuseppe's. Plus, I fell, and I should have went to the hospital, and it should have been splintered. And for 5 months, my wrist was monkeyed up. And when I fell, I showed the owner, "Look at my wrist." He goes, "Well, that's too bad." "What do you mean? Do you have any kind of like insurance?" No insurance. You're at your own risk. This is the Philippines. And he's pretty much right about that. But if I would have went to the hospital, no doubt they would have put my hand in a splint. No doubt it would have been taped up and bandaged, and there would have been medication and everything like that. I fell, my head was pretty smashed up. I fell right off a 3-foot platform because there's no barrier. So the man who picked me up off the 3-foot platform was two tricycle drivers came over and said they knew that this happened before. I says, because I was like stunned. I was shocked. My head hit the concrete floor. I was laying in a street on a curb. I had rolled out into the street. And the guy said to me, "Mike," because he asked me what my name was to see if I knew who I was. They heard my head hit the concrete. And he said, "Mike, this happens all the time." And he was basically telling me that people fall off that platform on a regular basis. And I believe him. All right, so Scott is here. Says, "Good for her. Good for Daisy May. She became a Zumba instructor." Yeah, that's pretty cool. Scott says, "I want to stay about 10 minutes or so ride away from Alona Beach." Yeah, you don't want to be in Alona Beach. And there's a lot of places with beautiful pools. To go to the beach in Alona Beach is a real hassle. I mean, it's not like it used to be. It's not pretty. Unless the tide is high and incoming, the water is icky. I would say the word is icky. The owner was rude, to say the least, as Scott said. The owner, rude wasn't, the owner could have said, "Look, we'll go to I'll take you to the hospital." My wrist was that swollen, and all I could do with my hand was just move my fingers like this. That's how bad my wrist was. And he didn't give a flying crap that I fell off his thing. He didn't say he was sorry. He didn't say, "Let me send you home with a couple of pies." Nothing. This guy was, There's a lot of things I could say about him. I already told him to his face. I told him I'll never come in your restaurant again. I'll never recommend your restaurant again. And he said, okay. That's all he said was okay. He knew he was wrong, was never going to give it up that he was wrong. And he just said, I said, you know, and I'm going to take all my videos down. He said, okay. He didn't care. They don't care. If they don't care, I don't care. Tell them I don't care. He don't care. We don't care. No one cares. I don't care about your restaurant. I don't care about sending people to another restaurant. I don't care if they go to your restaurant and they like your food. I don't care about any of that. You had no respect for me whatsoever, and then you sell me a pie that's 40% less in size in a takeout box, hoping I wouldn't see it till I got home. And then you go, I said, what is this? And you say, a pie? Yeah, it's a pie. And if I took an English muffin and put ketchup on it and a piece of cheese, that would be a pie too. But I'm paying for a 13-inch pie, and you sold me a 9.5-inch pie and then an 11-inch pie. Well, maybe 11.5-inch pie. Guy just does really bad business. They don't care. You're a tourist. No matter how many times I went to his restaurant 2 or 3 times a month for several months and made like 8 or 9 videos. Go find one. I took them all down. He didn't care. I said, I'm going to take all. He goes, okay. Yes, it was at night when I fell, Rich. I didn't fall anywhere. What they did was they squeezed in an extra table because the business was really crowded. So the normal 10 or 12 inches that you had to put the chair behind the chair, when they squeezed an extra table in, it only left 5 inches when you were sitting at the table, behind 5 inches to where the legs of the table were away from the edge of the platform. Because before they squeezed in another table, there would be like 15 inches. So they squeezed in another table. It doesn't make any sense because you don't know what I'm talking about because you're not listening, okay? They squeezed in another table, and when you went to sit in the chair, you couldn't go back in the chair at all because there was no room. And at the edge of the platform, the chair just falls off the platform. I wasn't the first person to fall off the platform. Many people fall off the platform. How does it make sense, Rich, for people to fall off a 3-foot platform? You want to clue me in on how it makes sense day or night that there's just the chairs are just too close to the edge of the platform, dude? Nothing makes sense that people fall off a 3-foot platform. Nothing in the world you can make sense of that. People can die. They could be crippled for life. They could have head injuries which prevent them from walking for the rest of their life. It doesn't make any more sense in the daytime or at night. What doesn't make any sense is your comment that it makes sense that people fall off a platform more at night than in the daytime. Jesus Christ. How does it make sense that you fall off at night but you don't fall off during the day? All right, we're done with that. You want to go get good pizza? You go to Giuseppe's Pizzeria. Makes sense that the guy had no respect for me. It makes sense he sells me a 9.5-inch pie instead of a 13-inch pie. It makes sense that the guy says, "What?" I say, "What is this?" And he says it's a pie, but it's still 40% smaller than what it's supposed to be. That makes sense to you? Are you on drugs? Are you drunk? Or are you just have an education of nothing in real life? I mean, I don't mean to be abusive, but if you think that it makes sense for people to fall off a 3-foot platform because it's night and not day, then there's something wrong with you inside your head. And I guess I just got a thumbs down and lost a subscriber, but that's okay. Because if you think it makes sense that people fall off a 3-foot platform while they're having dinner and the owner comes over and doesn't care, then you don't even, I've already spent more time with you than I need to. Bye-bye, Rich. Don't block them. Just let them let him go on with his little brain trust, whatever it is that he has that he calls a brain, that it makes sense to fall off a 3-foot platform. How does that make sense? In America, the guy would go to jail for having an eatery like that. In America, there'd be a railing, there'd be a guard, there'd be a chair guard. But you think it makes sense to fall off a 3-foot platform. What the hell is wrong with you? Jeez, I don't understand what's wrong with people. I'm beside myself that the stupidity runs so deep here on YouTube. It makes sense to fall off. This is where we are with Rich. It makes sense to fall off a platform at night where you're sitting down having dinner with your friends and family. That makes sense. Okay. All right, next topic. So we were at Where to Eat in Alona Beach. So we have the Payag restaurant. Now, as far as seafood restaurants are concerned, I'll give you the prices. Mad Max Risen. Welcome to the machine, Mad Max. I'll give you the prices on Alona Beach for seafood. Prawns, which some people like, are 2,400 pesos per kilo on the beach. But they're not cleaned prawns. They have the head, the shell, and the guts in them, and they're frozen. They're not fresh. So what you're really paying is closer to 3,000 pesos per kilo for the meat, or $60 a kilo for prawns. Lobsters are lobsters, they don't have the claws. These are called Florida lobsters or Caribbean lobsters. Are 3,300 pesos per kilo. But 60% or 65% of that is shell and guts. So let's just say it's 65%. So let's say you wanted to buy a kilo of lobster meat for, say you had 3 people. You'd have to buy 3 kilos at 3,300 pesos, or 3 kilos would be exactly $200 for 3 lobsters. So $200 for 3 Caribbean lobsters, and then you'd get maybe 1 kilo of meat, but you wouldn't get a kilo, I'll guarantee you that. But if you bought 4 of them at $250, you might get a kilo of meat, maybe. I doubt it, because there's a lot of meat in those little legs that you never gonna, no one ever opens up the legs. So you'd have to buy $250 worth of lobsters in order to get less than a kilo of meat. And you'd have to clean them, because you pay for the shell, you pay for the feet. And if those lobsters are in a tank, and they've been in a tank for any length of time, then they're hollow, because they've been using the meat that's inside their shell to live off of. And if that's the case, then you might have to buy 6 lobsters to get a kilo, and 6 lobsters would be upwards of $400. So you might have to buy $400 worth of lobster to get a kilo of meat out of it. Probably that's pretty close to the truth, because most of the lobsters are in a tank and you don't know which one is full and which one's not, although there is a way you can pick them up, but you don't get that option. You pick a lobster, they take it out of the tank and they bring it into a back room and cook it, and there's not a damn thing that says the lobster you picked was a perfectly full lobster, and they sell you an empty lobster. I look at the lobsters on the tables, and the people open up the back shell, the tail, and there's nothing in there. It's like a quarter-inch of air. I'm used to fresh lobsters from the back of my house in the Florida Keys that are full right to the brim. So So seafood on Alona Beach is, unless you're filthy rich, it's a total ripoff. A bag of potato chips on Alona Beach is now, for a 6.5 ounce bag, is now 289 pesos, or $6 for a 6.5 ounce bag of potato chips on Alona Beach. Or Doritos chips, $6 for a 6 ounce bag of Dorito chips. Some of them are 5 3/4 ounces. A bottle of soda, a 2-liter bottle of soda, is now 125 pesos, or $2.50 for a 2-liter bottle of soda. A 1-liter bottle of soda is 100 and, well, it's a 1-liter bottle of soda is 80 pesos. So it's $1.60 for a 1-liter bottle of soda. A bottle of water that you would pay 8 pesos for on the street in Tagbilaran is 20 pesos. So it's 2.5 times the price. $1 for 200 grams of chips. 200 grams of chips is 7 ounces, you know. Yeah, okay, so that's $1 for 7 ounces. Yeah, that's what chips used to cost. Potatoes in the Philippines, it's like some kind of rare thing. French fries in the Philippines, for a very small portion, we're talking tiny little portion of French fries, is $2 for like 15 fries. So anyway, another place that I would never eat is the Outback Steakhouse. It used to have the best hamburger in Alona Beach. Well, that when they changed hands, now the hamburgers went from being 5/8 of an inch thick and you could cook it rare, to now the hamburgers, the last time I had the hamburger at the Outback, the hamburgers start out at 1/4 of an inch thick. So there is no such thing as a rare hamburger anymore. As soon as they cook it, it's well done. Plus, there was a Korean place across the street in the back of an alley, and there are 7 food stores down this alley. It's called Eater's Corner or Eater's Alley, something like that. Food alley. And there was a Korean place, Filipinos working there, that sold a hamburger, the original sized hamburger, the original thick, like half-pound patties. But I said to them, I'll have one of those. I wanted a double patty, and I want it rare. No, sir. What do you mean, no, sir? We cannot cook the meat rare anymore. We have to cook it well done only. I'm going, well, I don't want it well done. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, yes, sir, you won't cook it well done, or yes, sir, you'll cook it well done. Yes, sir. I'm going, which way will you cook it? Will you cook it so it's pink in the middle? No, sir, not allowed. So now they have the rule here in the Philippines too that they won't sell you rare meat. So what's the point of having a hamburger if it's well done? Why would you bother? And no, the only thing good at the Outback is that the ketchup was Heinz ketchup, but they don't use Heinz ketchup. They use the banana ketchup at the Korean place. So putting banana ketchup on, yeah, this is what you could do with banana ketchup. Take the bag of banana ketchup and put it on your food. And when you realize what garbage it is, just throw it out, because it's garbage. Banana ketchup is not ketchup. It's made out of bananas, and it tastes like crap. There's no way around it. There's just no way around it. It's garbage ketchup. So they have a Del Monte ketchup, which is somewhere between garbage and Heinz. But only one restaurant uses Heinz ketchup, but they don't sell you hamburgers anymore. They sell you these, looks like a White Castle patty. So there's no place to buy a hamburger in Alona Beach at all. None. Zero. Is there a place to buy a decent hamburger in Alona Beach? Ice cream, I gotta tell you, there's the Bohol, there's like 2 or 3 places. The Bohol ice cream. Ice cream is, the scoop of ice cream is about 1 3/8 of an inch thick round. And it reminds me of a baby cone in America. What we used to get, like you'd buy your children very small ice cream cones about this big high, 3.5 inches high. They put a scoop in about 1 3/8 of an inch. And Bohol B ice cream, that's what it is. Bohol B. The ice cream is very good, but it's $1.50 a scoop for a ball this big, $1.50. Now, I guess that's normal in today's price, but I wouldn't spend $1.50 for a scoop of ice cream. Daisy and I used to buy the containers, like a 1-quart container of ice cream, and then we'd get some dry ice and bring it back from the city. But Alona Beach has become a disaster for pricing. I mean, let's see what else is. So the ice cream at the Bohol B ice cream place is delicious ice cream, but it's like I said, it's $1.40 for a scoop. You might, and that's not a ball of ice cream. That's a scratched out scoop, a small scoop. So maybe out of that 1 3/8 inch ice cream, there might be 1 1/8 of ball of ice cream. You don't get much ice cream for it. Daisy would like to get one of those when we went to Zumba, but I wouldn't. Me personally, I would just do without ice cream. Let's see what other kind of food is there. They say it's fresh fish. Nothing on Alona Beach. It's not like any restaurant has ever gone to the market and brought the fish back, and that's what you get. I bought fresh fish on the beach the last time I ate on the beach, and I picked out a fish out of the tank, and whatever they gave me was not the fish I picked out of the tank. It was garbage. It was just it was unedible. It was tasteless. It was borderline rotten, and I didn't enjoy the meal at all. I won't tell you the name of the restaurant because probably they just switched my fresh fish for some piece of garbage they had laying in the kitchen. And that's what they do. So unless you pick the fish up and wiggle the fish and see that the fish is fresh, and then they cook it right there on a grill in front of you, which they don't do, you don't know which fish you're getting. Because when the fish is and you buy the fish at 1,500 pesos per kilo, and it has the head and the guts in it. So again, you're paying like $40, $45 a kilo for fish. Then you have by the time you take the skin, well, you're paying 1.5 for the fish, and half of that is head and guts and skin and bone. So you're really paying $60 a kilo for fish. And it's not fresh. It's fresh frozen, but it may have been frozen 6 or 7 times. I've seen that as well. I'm not going to give anything in Alona Beach a big thumbs up, except the Henin restaurant. Everything is fresh there. The Alona Q, I'm sure the buffet there is fresh, but any other restaurant that you're eating there, you're eating garbage. And of course, Payag, you're eating garbage food. Like I said, unless you pick the fish up and watch them clean it and put it on a grill right there in front of you, when it goes into the kitchen, they'll substitute it for just about anything they got laying around that they need to sell. And I lived in the Florida Keys and had free, fresh food for 19 years. I think I bought fish 20 times in 19 years, or lobsters. Lobsters I got right behind the house. In season, there was an abundance of lobsters, and when they were out of season, you could just go to the fish house and buy them for $5 a pound. And they had them frozen, blast frozen. But I know fresh fish, and the fish I bought was fresh when I picked it up, and it wasn't the same fish I got. And they do that all the time. These people are in business to make money, not lose money. So Another thing that they have there are like mud crabs, they call them. Mud crabs. They're freaking ridiculous. They're 2,500 pesos a kilo, and 80% of that is shell and guts that you can't eat. So now you're paying like $200 a kilo for meat, and you got to work to get it. I would never buy a mud crab, but they have them there. Let's see what else they have for foods there. Pretty much that's it. If you go into a store, okay. Another thing that they have there now are they have a hair, no, a foot massage, and a nail and pedicure, all in one, and a Korean massage parlor near the Rue, near the Zumba. Excuse me, near the Zumba stage. They have a Korean massage parlor, and you could get a pedicure or a manicure, or you could get a foot massage. So you have a full massage or a foot massage. And they start at 800 pesos for a body massage. But a pedicure, I was 500 pesos for a pedicure, which is $10. At a regular salon in the city, a pedicure is 300 pesos. And if you get it done, which is the same job, if you get it done at the park, the park at in Tagbilaran City, they have little stands set up around the park. You get it done for about $2, so 100 pesos. So it's 500 pesos at the Korean, starting at 500 pesos. And if you want polish, it goes up to 650 pesos. And but they have full body massages for 1,200 pesos. So that would be about $25 for a 40-minute massage. But they have massages on the beach also, and they start at 800 pesos. And those girls, all Filipinas, at the Korean, most of the massage therapists are Korean or Chinese, I guess. They weren't Filipino. And let's say, and those are from 800 pesos for a massage to 1,400 pesos for like whatever they call they do your hands, they do your fingers, they do your feet, they do your back, they do your shoulders, they rub your head, they give you the machine that vibrates. So that goes up to like 1,400 pesos for a full-on massage. And let's see what else they have in Alona Beach. They have a few 550 peso, 600 peso buffets. I don't know what's in the buffet. I didn't go into the back of it was just opening up. It was just getting ready at 5 o'clock at night. They didn't have the buffet out, so I didn't get to see what the buffet was. I don't know but that's a reasonable price, $11 for a buffet, but I don't know what it included. And that was next to the Alona Q restaurant on the beach in Alona Beach. Continue walking east. Beach goes east-west. Continue walking east for about 60 feet. 60 feet east of the Alona Q is a buffet. It's a buffet, restaurant, bar, eatery. And then they sell cigarettes outside there. Pipes. Again, with the pipes, not a lot. Get caught with drugs in the Philippines, you're going to go to jail. So, but they all sell pipes. It's an amazing thing. And you don't put tobacco in those kind of pipes, but they sell them. And let's see, what else is there on Alona Beach? The dive shops. Dives are 3,500 pesos per dive, and that was last year's prices. I don't know what they are this year's prices. That's $70 for the first tank, and $70 Excuse me, I'm wrong. I apologize. It's $40 for the first tank and $35 for the second tank, but that's last year's prices. So it's $75 for 2 tanks, and that includes your gear rental. That includes the regulator, fins, your weight belt, and your mask and snorkel. So you're going to spend about $75, $80 worth of tip minimum, about $80 to go diving for 2 tanks. And there's not much to see in this area. I've done pretty much all the diving I want to do in the Alona Beach area. It's expensive, all right, Mad Max. And one thing I'll tell you about the beef in the Philippines, it's just basically, it's garbage meat. I don't know where they get it from. It may very well come from a cow. But the one thing that I want you to taste at the Henan restaurant, and tell them I said that the beef there is garbage, because I like the restaurant. I'd recommend that restaurant over any other restaurant in Alona Beach. But their beef is garbage. It's so tough, you can't chew it. And I'm not being facetious, and I'm not exaggerating. They cut the beef. It's not a 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's not an 1/8 of an inch thick. It's somewhere between about an 1/8 of an inch plus. It's red when they cut it. And then they have 3 giant heat lamps, 500-watt bulbs, beating on it until it turns brown just a few minutes later. It's so tough you can't chew it. I mean, it might be the one thing you'd leave on your plate, and yet it's the thing they spend more money to buy than any other product in the buffet, and they destroy it by cutting it too thick and then leaving the heat lamps on it. And no matter what you do, you go to the head chef, you bring them over to the thing, you say, look at this, it's too tough to eat. Yes, sir. That's what they say, yes, sir. But look, the heat lamps are drying it out. Yes, sir. And I tell him every time I go there, yes, sir. And he does nothing about it. They don't listen. They buy, it's the most expensive product that the Henan will buy for food. It's more expensive than any seafood, for sure. Oh, by the way, squid. Squid is 1,500 pesos per kilo on the beach if you go to a restaurant. And 1/3 of that is junk, garbage, the ink, the guts, the head. So you're really paying about $45 a kilo for squid. And if you think that's a good price, and then that's what it is. But the squid at the Henan, the fried squid is edible, but the broiled squid is the best. So, but the meat, the beef is just garbage. You go there, you get it. You'll see people throwing the beef out. They won't go back for a second portion. I tried it again where it was really, really, really red. You would think it would be really, really, really tender. No, it's like rubber. And it's not just the Henan. You can't buy a piece of steak in the Philippines. You can't buy like a piece of flank steak or T-bone. You could buy a T-bone, but it's like rubber. It's just garbage meat. I don't know what it is. And it doesn't have, right, Scott said it's just not tasty. The texture is wrong. The amount of effort to chew it is, I can't exaggerate enough that it's not chewable. And it's not tasty enough to warrant all the chewing you need to get to eat it. Now, if you just want to try it, clump it down in a big chunk in your mouth, then that's probably where it should go, and let it putrefy in your stomach. But you're not going to chew this stuff. And I have all my teeth in the back. I can chew meat, just can't chew that meat or any meat in the Philippines. All right. So let's see what other stores they have there. It's a substitute for chewing gum. Yeah. Broiled squid is the best, Scott. Grilled, There's grilled and or broiled. There's that. You know what? I made a mistake. It's not broiled squid. It's grilled squid is what the Henin has. That's just fantastic. It is tender. See, another thing that they don't know how to do in the Philippines is tenderize squid. Now, when I worked for Lenny's Clam Bar, I probably processed from the frozen squid box to the chef, to supplying the chef with the squid. We would process in Lenny's Clam Bar 300 pounds a day on the weekend. But in Lenny's Pizzeria, maybe 25 or 30 pounds a day. You got to put the squid in the water and then clean it, of course, clean it. And then you got to take the squid and you take a wooden mallet or an aluminum mallet with the teeth on it, the looks like a grid, and you smash the squid. You rupture the celluloid of the squid. They don't do that in the Philippines. So the only squid that's really not like rubber is the grill. So something about the grilling or the juice that they mix before they grill it, something about it tenderizes it to where it's actually quite tasty and quite palatable. Anyway, that's my experience here for Alona Beach. Now I have 4 videos coming up. I'll show them to you. I have some I have titled and some I don't. And I can't show you the titles of all the videos I have right now because some of them are private, but I'll show you what I can. And if I can't show you what I can, then I'll show you the videos titles before I have them. I have mixed videos where only go to friends on my videos page, that these will never become public. And let's see what page this is. Okay. All right. So we have the Alona Beachfront Dining, which is private at this time. And these people in blue are the blue massage people that give you the massage on Alona Beach starting at 800 pesos. In this video, I will show you the massage pricing, and I will show you the stores that I just went over in this live stream. Then we have Alona Beach typhoon damage, which was posted 4 days ago, which you've seen. Then the Alona Beach $22 Henin restaurant buffet, which includes beer and wine. Now, I don't drink, and I didn't have a glass of wine or beer, but I actually think I did actually see people. They gave you a decent-sized glass of wine. I never saw anybody finish it. I don't know what it tasted like, but there were 6 people at the table next to me that got wine, and they all left 25 or 30% of the wine in the glass. Maybe because they were full, maybe because the wine didn't taste good. I don't know. So let's see what else we have. We have Alona Beach Henin Resort Pool, which is public. And then I had a cute little video. I met a college, Bohol Island State University, the ROTC. A group of them were on the bus when I was on my way to the Tagbilaran Saturday afternoon. And after we took that walk, and a group of them, they were all laughing, and I asked them if they wanted to go on YouTube, and they said yes. And they all participated by saying hello and what their studies were going to be and in the ROTC training program. And they all gave their names, but I couldn't hear their names. Might be able to hear it in the video. I haven't listened to that video yet. And then we have Alona Beach Boat Tours, which is pretty much, I just was goofing with some of the members of the tourism industry. And I was asking them where Pink Floyd was playing tonight. did they have a boat to the Pink Floyd barge? And they were going, what's a Pink Floyd? And I'm going, a Pink Floyd is like a Rolling Stones. Ah, he said, you're on the wrong island. I says, no, not the wrong island, Long Island. And we went on until he realized I was only kidding with him, and then everybody started laughing. But it took about 45 seconds for him to realize he never heard of Pink Floyd. He never heard of Led Zeppelin. Never heard of Led Zeppelin. He never heard, because before I made the video, I was asking him questions. They never heard of Ozzy Osbourne. They never heard of Rick Wakeman from Yes. They never heard of any of the major bands from the 60s and 70s. They heard about the Beatles, but they don't know that they don't have a favorite Beatles song. They've heard about the Rolling Stones, but they don't know any particular song by the Rolling Stones. But they never heard of. They heard of Black Sabbath. These men heard of Black Sabbath, but they didn't have any song. Like, they couldn't say Iron Man. You know, that would be something that they heard the word Black Sabbath, and they knew it was a group. But when I asked them where Pink Floyd was, where was Pink Floyd playing, they basically, what's a Pink Floyd? And I'm going, no, never mind. And we, Cal and I were laughing because he's from England. So, yeah, that was pretty funny. So that's so those videos are going to be released within the next few days. I thought the video of the Bohol Island State University Navy ROTC, that was actually one of my favorite videos this weekend. They were all, well, there were 100 or so plus in uniform outside the bus, but some got on the bus with just their shirts. Some were in uniform, like they were part of a band. They had a beautiful band uniform on, and I didn't get any of that on video because by the time the bus pulled away, I'm going, that was the band, and I didn't get any of the band. But there was a really nice uniform they had. But we got everybody laughing for the ROTC, and they gave me the title that they wanted on the video, wherever that is. I put it on. That's the title that they wanted on the video, was the title I put on the video, wherever that is. The Alona Bohol. Well, let's find it. Wow, it's gone. Bohol Island State University ROTC New Friends. That's what they wanted as the title. The Bohol Island State University Navy ROTC New Friends. So that's the name of their video. And that's going to be posted Sunday night. So we had some fun. Cal is, I thought Cal was bigger than me, but when I looked at the video, Cal is probably smaller than me. I thought he was too big to be climbing trees, but as it turns out, he's smaller than I am even. So I'm getting pretty, I got pretty big, gotta tell you. I'm sure you guys noticed. And actually, I lost 10 kilos in the last 6 months. So, man, I'm looking at Cal, I'm going, wow, he's a pretty big dude. But then when I looked at the video, I'm bigger than he is. So we were laughing that I will still climb a tree with a chainsaw. I have no problem climbing. If I had climbing gear, I would still climb a tree. He told me he doesn't do much climbing anymore, that he's mostly a ground man. I don't like being a ground man. I prefer to climb. If I'm going to cut down a big piece of wood, I want to be above the wood when it falls, because you might drop a branch that's 300, 400, 500 pounds. You don't want to drop anything that big. It's on a sling, but when it hits a secondary branch or a smaller branch, the smaller branch might weigh 10, 15 pounds. And if you're on the bottom, the big branch, of course, you're not under the tree. the big branch is going to go down, and then you're going to be releasing the ropes off the big branch, but that small branch could come down and hit you on the shoulder and break your shoulder, or go right through your neck into your torso. I'd prefer to be up high. I didn't do a lot of tree work, but when it was a big tree, I was climbing, and you were the ground man. Unless I just felled the tree, and then that would be something else altogether. But Cal likes to be a ground man. And we had a couple of good laughs about that. And I'll go back to my live stream. I'm pretty much going to end that soon. Led Zeppelin. They had no idea. Bill Long, Pink Floyd is God. They had no idea who Pink Floyd was. No, if you want to watch my video, you could just watch the video. I don't even know how to do that screen sharing thing. I'm not real. No, people be able to see the video. You're really good at that, Man Bear Pig. You're really good at screen sharing. Let's see. I don't know what the wine tasted. I actually should have got a glass of wine. That was pretty cool. It was a nice buffet. I mean, but again, the buffet is something. The last time I went to the buffet was early July. Daisy went to Payag after Zumba, and I went to the buffet. And then we met at the Hennen after she was done with her Payag dinner. And I was done with my buffet. But at that time, they didn't have wine. This time they did. I don't drink, so wine would not interest me. I mean, I know I could take a sip. Does the Philippines have a blue water navy? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. I guess we could look it up. Let's see. Philippines Navy. I've never seen I've never seen a Navy ship. Philippines Navy. I've never seen one. Oh yeah, they do. Yep. All right, so it says list of equipment of the Philippines Navy. All right. All right, so they have something called a class frigate, a class corvette, a patrol vessel, another patrol vessel, patrol vessels, some landing craft, and what they have a littoral class patrol vessel, a littoral class patrol craft, and they have a fast attack craft. So you could look it up, but this is a list of the equipment, the Philippines current assets. Okay. The Philippines Navy is the Naval War Service branch of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. It is estimated to have a strength of 24,000 active service personnel, including 7,500 Marine Corps. It shares the responsibility of patrolling maritime borders with Philippines Coast Guard, formerly attached units. So they have 24,000 service members, and it showed you the ships 2 screens back. So right here, let's see what this is. Yeah, they have what looks like a battleship. They probably just don't have a lot of them. But again, the Philippines isn't very big. From one end of the Philippines to the other, as the crow flies, is probably less than 500 miles. So that's, yeah, they have a Navy, and those were the statistics. Careful with that axe, Eugene. Child, baby. Now we're talking about Umaguma. Yeah, I, I, I was listening to Pink Floyd when I was 14 years old. My friend's brother, he was as straight as an arrow, Jimmy Gadomski, and he didn't smoke cigarettes, he didn't drink alcohol, and he didn't smoke weed, but he loved Pink Floyd. He turned us on to Pink Floyd back in 1967, 68. Whenever Pink Floyd came out with their first album, Jimmy was listening to it, and he made us listen to Pink Floyd. They had a wine cellar in the basement. Mr. Gadomski was very rich. He was president of Boar's Head Brand Meats. And they had a wine cellar in the basement. But they also had a bar, a full-on bar in the basement, because Mr. Gadomski used to have parties with his friends. He was the vice president of Boar's Head Brand Meat, so he hung out with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, Engelbert Humperdinck, Fidel Castro. Actually, he would literally, actually, physically visited Cuba when Fidel Castro first took it over back in the 60s. He was friends with the Castro administration. I don't know why, but I remember seeing pictures of him and Fidel Castro behind the bar. And they had a full stereo system, phonographic system, and and in the basement, it was a sub-basement, you could shut the windows and the shutters on the windows, and it got dark, and Jimmy used to put on the Pink Floyd album Umaguma and Weasels Rip My Flesh by Frank Zappa, that kind of stuff. And he would shut the windows and we were like 12 and he was like 17 or 18. And he would shut the windows and make us listen to the album, to listen to the music of the album, all the weird sounds and stuff like that. So I've been listening to that since I was a little kid. Now, you man, bear, pig, here's what you need to do. You need to understand that if you get caught with weed in the Philippines, although it probably exists, but I've been here for 6.5 years and I've never seen or smelled it. So it probably exists like it does any place else, because people, I'm sure they grow it. But if you get caught with it, you can go to jail for 10 years for having some weed. Buying or selling weed here you could probably go to jail for 10 years for something like that. That's how the weed situation is in the Philippines. You'd be better off robbing a bank. Shadowbarker, the album with the cows on the cover, that's called Adam Heart Mother. Adam Heart Mother is the name of that album. I'll show you. I'll show you. Adam Heart Mother. ATOM Heart, HEART, Mother. ATOM HEART. Have you ever heard that Joni Mitchell song where they destroyed paradise and put up a parking lot? All right. See that cow, Adam Heart Mother, live. That's the cow. Suit. That's the album cover. That has some really good songs on it too. I mean, we're talking about old Floyd, but if you didn't know that album was 50, 60 years old, if you didn't know the album was 55 or 50, 19, when did that come out? 67, 77, 87, 97, 107. If you didn't know that album was 52 years old, you wouldn't know that was 52 years old, Adam Hart Mother. That's a great album. Okay, you're off to Jamaica. Yeah, you're going to get all in trouble. No, you can vape in the Philippines. They have, you can buy, I never tried that, but the fellow next door vapes. I got to tell you, he's got the freaking vaping machine that he has is half as big as this thing here, and when when he blows out the smoke, he blows out smoke that continues to come out of his lungs for 2.5 or 3 feet. I don't think that's real healthy, but it is vape. But yeah, you can vape, and you can buy all of the vaping apparatus and the vaping things here. It's perfectly legal. I even saw a girl with the same sized machine as that in front of McDonald's just yesterday morning, vaping. And the smoke that she was exhaling, or the vape that she was exhaling, was amazing. It's just amazing. It's an amazing amount of vapor coming out of such a small little apparatus. Okay, so I will occasionally have a cigarette, Billy Bob. I have no problem with smoking. I go 4 or 5 days without having a cigarette, and then if I feel like smoking, I smoke. Smoking is something that if I don't have cigarettes for a week or two, I don't have a problem with not smoking. If I have cigarettes available, I may not have a cigarette for 3 or 4 or 5 days, or I might have 2 or 3 or 5 a day. So no, I did give up smoking for when I went to New York in February. I ran out of cigarettes, and I wouldn't pay $15 a pack. And when I got back from New York, I didn't smoke until I guess it was July, because Daisy was complaining, "Why are you starting to smoke again?" I said, "Because I want to, because I feel like having a cigarette, and that's what I want to do. I don't drink. I don't go to bars. I hadn't been scuba diving because my foot was still monkeyed up. I don't go to parties unless you're with me. And if I want a cigarette, considering that I want a cigarette, I'm going to have a cigarette. And I smoke when I want to smoke. So yes, I still smoke, Billy Bob, but not so much. You've seen me do 5-hour live streams where I don't have a cigarette, and I might not have a cigarette today, and I might have one when I'm done. I don't have when I run out of cigarettes, I don't go to the store to buy cigarettes. I don't need to have a cigarette. And if there's no cigarettes available, like when I used to live on a boat, then I wouldn't smoke for 2 or 3 weeks when I was out on the boat. Not a problem. I don't smoke in people's houses. I don't smoke in public. I don't smoke in the city. I don't smoke on the beach. I'll smoke in the backyard. That's about the only place that I'll smoke. Sometimes I'll smoke in the house now that Daisy's not here, but mostly, I still smoke cigarettes. And I never had a problem with cigarettes where I needed them to the point of going out and buying them. I've seen people fiend not having a cigarette. They have to have one in the morning. They have to have one before their breakfast. They have to have one after their breakfast. They have to have one every 45 minutes, because that's how long it takes the nicotine to kick their buttocks. So, do I smoke? Yes. Do I smoke a lot? I would think a pack of cigarettes lasts somewhere between a week and 10 days. Sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks. Yeah, Paige, I say we stop smoking for good fun, Michael. You do whatever you want. I used to breathe in. I lived inside a crane for 20 years and breathed in asbestos dust from the brakes from the live wire, live boom crane, and chemicals from cleaning the machinery, and diesel fumes and gasoline fumes, and burning steel for 2 or 3 days, 4 days at a time, cutting steel, and welding fumes and stuff like that. I don't think a couple of cigarettes is going to make a difference after you burn 20 pounds of welding rod and, inside a small encumbered area. I don't think smoking a couple of cigarettes is going to make a damn bit of difference after you've sat in a crane breathing in asbestos dust from brakes that are 3 feet in diameter, 6 inches wide, and they start out at 5/8 of an inch thick, and then 6 months later, there's nothing left. So you just went through 30 pounds of asbestos dust, just 18 inches away from where you're sitting. I don't think that a few cigarettes is going to make that much of a difference in the long run. And if it does, no one lives forever, dude. So, I mean, asbestos is what the brakes were made out of in every crane I ever operated, because I can operate a hydraulic, or what is known as a hydraulic boom truck crane, but most of my expertise was live wire, live boom crane. Hello, Michael speaking. How can I help you? Hello, how can I help you? Okay, so my expertise was live wire, live boom cranes, and they have asbestos brakes, and they use 30 pounds of asbestos every 6 months, and it doesn't go somewhere. It falls down next to where you're sitting, and then the engine blows it around the cab of where you're sitting. So my personal cranes were all live wire, live boom cranes, and the ones I ran for any big companies were all live wire, live boom cranes. So a few cigarettes, and just being in the city of Tagbilaran is like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, walking around the streets for 8 hours in and out of shops. So you're smoking more than a pack of cigarettes worth of dust and garbage in the street of Tagbilaran, probably 2 packs in Cebu. In 3 weeks of walking around in Cebu, your lungs, nose, nostrils, and larynx starts to bleed blood. I don't think a few cigarettes is going to make much of a difference in when you live where the air is clean. So moving on, I am not going to stop smoking unless I choose to. But if you want to stop smoking, look at Warren. Warren never smoked a cigarette in his life, and he has cancer. My dad smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day since he was 14. He died of a heart attack when he was 75, but he never had a breathing problem or didn't have emphysema, nothing. My uncle died of lung cancer and never smoked a cigarette in his life. So, yeah, the nanoparticles. If you watch the video I made in Alona Beach, yeah, I'll show that one. Man, bear, pig. Hold on. That's a pretty cool video. I got to find it. Well, I just posted it live, too. I have Alona Beach Boat Tours, Island State, Alona Beach Valley, Alona Beach. Joni Mitchell, right here. So you go to this Joni Mitchell video, right? I'll kill the sound, but I want to show you something, Man, Bear, Pig. We're gonna watch the video. We're gonna kill the sound. It's in the notes here. I sent one to Scott. No, Scott didn't make a comment here. Okay, so I sent one to Vincent Michaels. Okay, here. One at the 1 minute and 30 mark in this video. Look at the sky. Look at what's in the sky, baby. 1 minute 31 seconds. 1 minute 32 seconds. Now look at the sky. On, spray off, spray on, spray off, spray on off, spray on, spray off, light spray, heavy spray. Just like that, baby, like a giant can of Raid across the sky every day. And why? Because the wind blows from the direction of this building here towards where I'm standing. This is the end of the island at Alona Beach, and they start spraying every day at the exact same time, 9:30 in the morning. They spray these lines every day over my house, every day between 9:30 and 11:30, and then at 4 o'clock they come back and spray more. By the way, there is no airport or landing, or there isn't even an island in either direction of that line. There is no airport, there is no island, there is no place for a plane to take off or land, and there's no island if you follow the direction of the line in either direction. There's nothing. It's just they're spraying us like bugs. Anybody that doesn't believe it doesn't have to believe it. So the comment says, notice the beautiful line maker above the hotel in the process of fogging the Philippines like a giant can of Raid. And that's what they're doing. Yeah, Lechenberg, he saw it. And so did Light Rose, and everybody else acknowledged that it's there. So, and they spray so that I'm surprised. They spray so much here that they fog right now. Okay, right now we have blue skies. But that's because we had the wind come off of the ocean from a weird direction. So they just didn't get around to spraying it. But they've already sprayed. We might see blue skies, but they spray up here. They're spraying at 8 or 10, 12,000 feet. And by the time it comes down, it just comes down as a mist. But in the Alona Beach, because in the Alona Beach area, it's more populated. And that's when you get right into Alona Beach proper, they spray that crap at 2 or 3 or 4,000 feet right over the Alona Beach area. I live a couple of thousand feet beyond where they spray like above my house. And then it hits Alona Beach. But they want that spray. They need that spray to hit everybody there. They keep whatever's in that spray, it might keep these people from caring about the fact that they're being, utilized as slaves. I don't know. You no way you could make them look up in the sky and see that line that goes on and off. And oh no, that's just the exhaust from the exhaust goes on and off. They say yes, the exhaust goes on and off. Talking to the people in the Philippines about chemtrails, might as well just talk to a brick wall. Brick and mortar, concrete and mortar, concrete, stucco, concrete, even plaster of Paris. Might as well talk to a wall when trying to explain chemtrails to people in the Philippines. Scott says, I smoke cigars like that for pleasure on occasion. Yeah, that's all. Not a big deal. I mean, but for the stuff that you've done in your life, Scott, cigars is probably the least likely thing to kill you. I've breathed in thousands of pounds of dust. I've been in rooms in houses that I broke the old lath and plaster ceilings down with asbestos in the lath and plaster. 10,000, 20,000 pounds of lath and plaster I would pull off of just one building, one 4-story brownstone, and all I had was a baseball cap on and a handkerchief over my nose to keep the big stuff from smacking me. We didn't have respirators and breathers and helmets. I would pull down 10,000 pounds of plaster with asbestos in it. For years I did that renovation work, brownstones in Manhattan. I didn't even know what asbestos was, and I was scratching it off of beams and pipes when we went into those old buildings. And I'm still alive. Anyway. I don't know about having DNA of steel. I breathed in a lot of stuff. I don't need to learn screen share. You can show it to me next time we Skype, but we're not Skyping today. I have other things that need to get done. We're probably not going to get a chance to Skype today. I want to try to get in touch with Warren. I don't know why they bother. There's something in that spray, Billy Bob, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. No one, well, I mean, I know what it is. It's a leftover residue of nuclear power plant waste, barium, strontium. Those two things are in there, and a million other chemical mixes. I don't know, whatever it is. It might just be destroying DNA in a minuscule amount each day, each year, each couple of years, to where the population, well, I do know one thing it does, is that I don't know how old you are, Billy Bob. I know that you've been around on my channel for a long time, but you're not trolling me today, so I'll answer your question. When you were a man that is, let's just say a man that is 70 years old now, today, when he was 20, he had 100% or 99% sperm count. So in other words, if he had 100 sperm, 99 of them were good sperm. And a woman that's 70 years old today, when she had an egg, 99% of her eggs were healthy and fertile and could be fertilized. So if you had a woman 7 or 50 years ago, a normal man had a normal relationship with a normal woman, and the woman's egg dropped, they would have a 99% chance of having a healthy baby. At that point, 1 in 10,000 babies were born with Down syndrome. But since they started doing vaccinations and chemtrails, the average man that had 100% sperm count in 50 years ago, say 1960 or 1970, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. In 1970, if you had 100% sperm count, the average young male that's 20 years old now has 50% of good sperm, and the average female has only 30% of good eggs. So their chances of having a healthy baby are smaller. But Down syndrome is now 1 in 50 babies. So it went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 50. That's fact. I'm not making it up. It's estimated that 10 years from now, the average 20-year-old male and 20-year-old female will have approximately a 20% chance of having a healthy baby, and 1 in 25 babies will be born with Down syndrome. That's a fact. I'm not making it up. It's a fact. According to the statistics by the CDC and by other institutions. So whatever it is that they're spraying and whatever's in the vaccinations, which is mercury or a derivative of mercury, it's causing the reduction of sperm and viral eggs and viral sperm, and it's causing from 1 in 10,000 children have Down syndrome to 1 in 25 10 years from now. So it could be the chemtrails, it could be the vaccinations, it could be the chemicals they put in the food, and it's probably all three of those. So that's why they're putting that shit in the air. It's just another way to give it to you. They're giving you something for nothing. And at the end of the day, if you get sick and you want to fix it, then you can give them back all the money you made your entire life and pay for a doctor to work on you for about 100 days before you die. If you're going to die. So I don't worry about a few cigarettes here and there. All right. I talked about the hotel in my last live stream. The next time I talk about the hotel, it'll have the word hotel in the title, Paige High. Thanks for asking. All right, now it's we're going on 3 hours, and my voice is getting tired. And I'm going to pretty much end this live stream telling everybody that's here now. Yeah, you know, actually, the next live stream I'm going to do is probably going to be I might do a live stream Monday morning, my time here, Sunday night, which would be 24 hours from now. I have to give everybody the name of my new channel, my backup channel, and I also have to do a complete update on what's going on with the hotel and what I'm doing with the hotel and what's happening with the hotel. The hotel is still going forward. But I am going to give the opportunity to a few people if they want to invest in the hotel before I start working. I haven't started working on the hotel yet. If they want a room and they want to invest money, then I'm going to give that opportunity out to a select few. I'm only going to have, depending on what Warren wants to do, and when I talk to Warren, I'll either have just one unit available to sell outright or two, depending on what Warren wants to do. And there's not going to be any kind of discount, or it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be something like, oh, $10,000, I'll buy a unit. No, it ain't going to be anything like that. We're looking at $100,000 for the unit itself. And that, of course, that's yours, and then I'll rent it for you if you leave, and it'll be a business manager. But the unit's the same size as the one that I want to sell in Cebu, with no view, not near an ocean, not near the beach, not near anything, with no balcony, are selling between 3.5 million pesos and 4.5 million pesos. They're selling up to $100,000 for a room not much bigger than what I'm standing in right now, with no balcony. And that's the kitchen, the bathroom, and the living room, and the bedroom all in one. And for downtown Cebu, some of those rooms are selling for 3-4 million pesos. So I gotta get some information. So I'm gonna put up some background information on it, to let you know what's available and then what's going to be available, and maybe nothing will be available. I'll have to see. But before I talk about selling a room, one room, and if less depends on what Warren wants to do, one room or two, I will talk to you on the phone. I will require a passport. I will require a driver's license, and I will require you to give me money to do a full security background check on you to see if you have, I don't really care about you getting, you know, a DUI or something like that. But if you have any kind of serious issues with child molestation or spousal abuse or anything, let's leave it at anything that would get your CCA permit revoked, I don't want you in my house. If you were convicted of anything that would get your CCA permit revoked, I don't want you. I don't want to live with you. I don't mind renting a room to somebody that I don't know that they have these problems, but I don't want an alcoholic or a drug addict or a wife beater or a child molester in my house. And it will be my choice to choose who I wish. I've already turned down 2 people that I talked to on the phone, and we're just not compatible to live with you. 2 million pesos. 2 million pesos. I wouldn't even 2 million pesos. Are you kidding me? 2 million pesos? That wouldn't even buy half a room. I'm not gonna 2 million. 20 million. Okay, I can't see it. 20 million. Go online and look in Cebu and look at condominiums with a balcony, and go try to find one on a beach, and then you'll see what they're really worth. So anyway, thanks for watching. Scott, Page High, Man Bear Pig, Page High, Billy Bob. Well, you were good today, Billy Bob. I see. I know you like to troll, but thanks, Mad Max. Thanks for not trolling today, Chado Barker. You, my friend, had some really good comments on some other channels this week. Thanks for stopping by. The Coffee House. I missed this. The penalties for possession of tiny amounts of marijuana carry mandatory minimum sentence of 12 years. And cultivation of some cannabis plants will get you life sentence. I didn't know that. Yeah. I heard that the rules were strict here. I don't have anything to do with that, so it doesn't really affect me. Plus, I had to get what did I get drug tested for? I got drug tested. You had to get drug tested for my driver's license. Tell you what, if you get caught with drugs in your system when you're going for your driver's license, they won't give you a driver's license here. They won't give it to you now, and they won't give it to you ever. So if you have any illegal drugs in your system when you apply for a driver's license in the Philippines, they will never give you a driver's license. Sasha, thanks for stopping by. The Coffee House, thank you very much for helping Scott with the paint remover thing. Nomad Patriot, have a nice day. Robert Harrison and Flying Circus. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. I'm going to finish my breakfast. Now it's been up since 5:15 this morning. Actually earlier than that, but I took a walk, so I've been actually at this sitting down here since 5 o'clock this morning. Thank you very much, everybody, for stopping by. I'll answer your questions when I get current prices for First of all, I'm going to explain this to you about the money that I'm going to ask for the unit. Number one, I'll explain it to you in no uncertain terms. When I sell my house in New York, I will not need the money with the money I received from the house in New York to build this hotel. The money I want to sell the unit for is strictly for one purpose and one purpose only. I'm going to buy an amphibious aircraft and do rides over the Bohol Sea and around the Philippines. I'm going to start a tourism service for amphibious aircraft. And That 100,000 is what I need to buy an aircraft straight off the bat, right away, like next week. I just have to go get reevaluated on sport aircraft, and then I would order that plane from Kruger Industries if I sold the unit. So and that would make me money to do that. So I won't bullshit you. I'm going to sell the unit, and I'll show you the plans for the hotel, but I'm not going to start building the hotel till I sell my house in New York. But that extra money is just going to be to buy a plane straight off the bat. Because probably, I would say 80% of the money from the house in New York is going to be used to build the hotel. I haven't crunched the numbers yet, but the house in New York will be more than enough to build the entire hotel. But I want to buy an aircraft. I want to buy an airplane right away. I mean, like, if I can, I will. But if I can't, I won't. But I need another $100,000 to get the aircraft delivered to the Philippines. All right. That's right, man, bear, pig. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. Remember, Daisy said to say hello, and Daisy is doing well. Daisy and I spoke for 1.5 hours this morning on what's the name of that, Facebook. We did have a nice conversation. She's doing well. She's now a certified Zumba instructor. She has her certificate and her band that she wears on her arm, and now she's practicing to learn how to be an instructor. She's got the certificate. She can instruct, but now she has to learn how to instruct. It's like the hands-on information. So Daisy didn't say to say hello to everybody, but she did say hello to Scott, Warren, Dennis, and Mercury, because those are the people that we talked to. So have a nice day. I'm being Permy. I'm going to definitely end it now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm being Permy from Michael Fazio and Daisy May in the Philippines, baby.